conservatives in general perceive this world as threatening. This has been proven by so many psychological studies. If you understand that conservative people, right-wing people, have a higher sensitivity to threat than liberals and left-wing people, you will understand conservative politics all over the world. You will understand why Donald Trump gets so many voters when he says, "We need to build a wall! We need to build a wall! People are pouring in over the border. If we don't build a wall, we don't have a country." To you as a liberal, to you as a left-wing person, this might sound ridiculous, like he's demonizing Mexicans and so on, but you do have to understand that conservatives perceive the world as way more threatening. Then you will understand all of these narratives that people like Tucker Carlson and Fox News do. The socialists are coming. Oh, no, not the big government, that's socialism. This perceived threat by the Russian, Soviet Union, nuclear missiles, oh my God, it's fear-based. You will understand why Jordan Peterson in his recent conservative manifesto started building this narrative that the Western way of life is under attack. You will understand that. You will understand why the far-right parties in the Nordics perceive Islam as a threat. Islam is their threat to the Nordic lifestyle, and so on. You will understand conservative politics everywhere. And the mistake that liberals and left-wing people do is that they don't understand human temperament. They don't understand that ideology is based on our temperament. It's based on, to a certain degree, genetics. Some people are just more sensitive to threat and fear than you are. If you are open, if you like to try new things, like liberals and left-wing people do, I have like the 95th percentile of openness psychologically, so I'm extremely open. You do have to understand, that's great. Try new things. Try eating new kinds of dishes from all around the world. Travel, meet Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, etc. But do understand that everyone is not like that. Everyone in the population is not like that. This is why democracy works, because people have different temperaments. They need to be allowed to vote for different parties. Some people do not perceive just traveling around like something very comfortable. They see it as threatening if it is a new kind of country with a different kind of culture. It feels uncomfortable. It doesn't feel like home. It doesn't feel safe. Oh, this is it. Now, when does the right wing go to the far right? It goes like here. When this fear that right wing people generally have, and you can prove this. For example, in America, after 9/11, 2001, when America was attacked by terrorists, this was a horrible action. I actually visited New York a few years after and went to ground zero. It's a terrible attack. George Bush, a conservative, his approval ratings went to 90% when he said, "We declare war on terror." All right? So we then do understand that there are times when we as people become more sensitive to threat and become more conservative. For example, I would bet that, oh God, there are many mosquitoes here. I would bet that during war times, most people would turn a little bit more to the conservative side and the nationalist side and sensitivity to threat, versus times of economic growth, economic boom, when things are going well, we would probably automatically become more liberal. So this sensitivity to threat is based on fear. Now, when the right wing goes to the far right is when this fear takes over so much. And you know, fear, when you are afraid of something, you create a demonized, exaggerated picture of what it is. You take something small and make it a monster in your mind. That's scary. If you are one of these conservatives that have so much fear for foreigners, you really need to deal with your fear and sort of turn off the light. Turn on the light and see that there was nothing to be afraid of. It was just this small problem. But you have painted this as this huge, scary demon. Oh my God. And what happens then is that you can go so far as to believe in your own fear and your own demonized picture of that problem, the Muslim or the black person, that you see him as a threat to your life. So you perceive through your fear this black man or Muslim as a threat to your life because you have painted up this big monster in your head of what he is. So you feel you have to defend yourself. And now you will start attacking this person who in reality there was nothing to be afraid of. It's a normal black guy, a normal Muslim family. You have painted them up as this huge enemy in your head. So you go and attack them. That's when it turns extremist. This is when it becomes racist, Nazism, and far right. When you attack other people who have done nothing towards you because your fear has painted this scary and exaggerated picture of what they are. Now, conservatives warrior, you really need to deal with your fear. One solution is meet Muslims, meet black people, get black friends, Muslim friends. You will see there was nothing to be afraid of. They are not threatening the West. They are not going to change your culture. They are not all terrorists. They are not all going to steal your women. This is fear. All right? And the problem again with fear is that you tend to manifest that which you are afraid of because you generate as a mantra in your mind this big monster, and you treat other people like they are monsters. And this is where you are in Sweden right now. A lot of Swedish people are afraid of foreigners. So they treat you hostile, even if you have done nothing. And then the problem here is that you can actually summon a war. You can summon a conflict. So if you are so afraid of these foreigners, you can summon a conflict with them because you have painted a big scary picture of what they are. And then they feel that you're attacking them, they will respond. So now you can actually get into trouble versus a liberal. A liberal might have very good relations and experience with Muslims. Left-wing people might have great experiences with black people. But conservatives and fear-based people might have horrible experience with black people and Muslims because they are afraid, and they then also become a little bit hostile because they think that this big demon who is there to attack them. So be careful with fear. Now, one thing that left-wing people and liberals can do in politics to deal with conservative people is slow change. Not too much immigration at once. This is a moderate approach. Slow change, not too much immigration at once. Not too much progressiveness at once. Slow down the progressiveness a little bit to let the people feel comfortable. Don't force openness on people. If you force openness on conservatives, they will just become hostile to you. So slow and steady change and let the tradition hold form. And yes, I think that many wars in the last 100 years and even before that has been based on fear, has been based on far-right people perceiving another people as a threat and hostile to them. I think that's the Vietnam War. I do think that that's the Russian-Ukraine war. I think that Europe is in a constant state of fear against these Russians and have painted up Russia as this big Soviet totalitarian tyrant. Now, my experience with Russian people is completely the opposite. It's nicest people who are trying to find a way to live, probably want to trade with Europe and have decent relationships. Russia feels attacked by NATO's constant expansion towards these, so Russia is afraid. So it is dangerous when you let these fear and sensitivities to threat generate a worldview where another people becomes hostile to you, but they have not really done anything towards you. Then you go on attack and they respond, and you can summon a war and a conflict. Hopefully this video was helpful.